with a woman whom scare.
What I have seen, one thing that I've actually, I'm sure people who are immersed in online politics will have seen this, that I don't think it was Pod Save America, but it was one of the guys who is on Pod Save America mediated, like, facilitated a debate between it's kind of crazy, a self-proclaimed abundance liberal, like abundance progressive, who was anti, like, housing construction or some shit like that. Basically, this, like, rancid homeowner ass looking ass LA councilwoman, right? Who her whole political life revolves around build as few apartments as possible, build as many parking lots as possible, and then a state rep who looks like the kind of man that I feel like would have a YouTube channel where he plays SimCity 4 and talks about urban politics and how that's pretty cool, I guess. And like, I think on his side of it, like, he was supposedly not the abundance lib, but his positions were more in line with what some of the more progressive abundance types would be talking about, which is like, we need to get rid of some of these zoning laws because they're absurd and prevent new housing units from being built. We need to build affordable housing and shit like that. So you had the progressive who was like, yeah, I think, you know, housing costs are really bad and we need to, like, build more stuff in order to do that. And you know, we can get private developers to do that, but, like, at the core of it, we need to, before, like, in order to address all this other stuff, we also do have to build more housing units, you know, like apartments and stuff. And then this other woman was like saying, no, it'll ruin the natural beauty of the neighborhood. Anyways, let's build more parking lots. And then, like, the fucking Pod Save, I'm so sorry, I forgot what his name was. He was crashing the fuck out, like, internally. He didn't, like, there were some points where he almost flew off the handle verbally, but it was actually glorious to watch that, like, everybody knew with the exception of this councilwoman, everybody knew how evil the councilwoman was. And they were like, it was like, are you serious right now? This is your political platform? No fucking wonder this country is doomed. It's being run at the local level by shitheads like this. What's the phrase? I learned a phrase recently. The fate of nations has been decided with less passion than the location of where the next high school will be built, or some shit like that. And that's absolutely true, right? Except in this case, it's actually both true and untrue, because the, like, trivial seeming local construction projects, when combined in the aggregate, are the fate of this nation and are the fate of a large-scale political economy, right? When you account for the fact that homeowners have urban infrastructure by the balls because they're in the ear of, like, the city council people, or oftentimes are the city council people and county board members, and they're just out living in the suburbs or exurbs, and they're destroying the city just so it can look like the same shithole suburb that they come from, you know? It was, in many ways, it was a cathartic debate because everybody had the same viscerally negative reaction to the person advocating to build less affordable housing and more parking lots, right? And of course, it helps that it was a white woman. You know? Everybody loves, myself included, I feel like everybody loves using disagreeable white women as a vector for radicalization in whatever direction your political ideology takes you, right? Like, oh, want to radicalize people to the left? Show a unhinged ass suburban white woman, like, being like, yeah, we need to build more parking lots. Also, I want all women to be barefoot and naked and whatever in the kitchen or something. Barefoot and pregnant and naked, something. I don't know. The writer's barely disguised fetish, you know? Want to radicalize people to the white? Show, I don't know, white women being progressive or having blue hair or something, right? It's just white women, I feel like, are the universal language of politics. Does anybody else understand what I mean by that? No matter what political ideology you have or are radicalized to, I feel like an extremely easy vector for political content and radicalization is just white women. Particularly white women, right? Like, it's not one of those things where I know a lot of progressives will be like, it's like you're putting on the silencer where you want to say all women, but you just couch it with white women. No, that actually isn't what I mean here. It has to be, like, pretty normative appearing white women for this to be like the particular vector of radicalization that I'm thinking of, you know? Like, if it was if like, imagine this, the unhinged TikTok of like a suburbanite white woman, right? Talking about how no apartments above 2 stories, build more parking lots, right? I actually don't think it would work the same if it was a black woman or like like a brown Hispanic woman or something like that. I don't think it would get as much play. Does that make sense? Does what I'm talking about make sense? Anyway, shoutouts to all the white women for being like a universal driving force in online politics by, like, I don't know, just existing and having disagreeable takes and being from the suburbs or exurbs or something. You know? I guess it's like this is an information economy, or more accurately, like a misinformation economy. But nonetheless, misinformation is still information. It's simply false information. This is an information economy. I guess what I'm trying to say. This is an information economy that runs on rage bait, and it's just really easy to get mad at white women. You know? That's not me saying it's like always justified. That's me saying it's easy. Anyways, I find it quite funny. And I feel like, you know what? Actually, I feel like that's almost like a vector of content that I could, like, do on my channel. Is basically like, all right, what's an issue I want to talk about? Let's go find a white woman being really unhinged about it and react to the white woman, right? That way I can meet my gamer quota of being, like, misogynistic or something. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm showing, like, the most anti-feminist woman on planet Earth, and it's like, see, this is why the dolls must be protected at all costs, because these unhinged white women will not leave them. I don't know. I don't know what I'm cooking right now, but I feel like I see a vision. There's a vision there.
Thanks for watching, and support the channel if you would be so kind.